Riley Flack. All right, let's keep decorum.
Yeah, so I got 3 daughters. I graduated Stillwater High School in 2001. I left one time Stillwater and served in the military for 4 years. This issue isn't about what these people are making it about. Like I said, I have 3 daughters, and in the bathroom, there need not be a penis in my daughter's bathroom. And if you guys won't stop it, I will.
Thank you. John Chafin. Is that the same? Is that a different one? Oh, okay.
It's the dad of the
Yeah, okay,
other one.
okay.
Women and men, let us consider some undisputable facts. Number one, biological sex is determined by a few factors. The moment a baby is born, we tell a parent you have a baby boy or you have a baby girl, and these are visible differences that cannot be altered. Every child has, in every cell of their body, has chromosomes that are corresponding to that, what you see between their legs. All right? Third is there are some things that cannot be measured by science. For example, I can measure and I can describe musical instruments and notes. I can describe melody, harmony, and rhythm. But what makes certain combinations of them appealing, lovely, rousing, and even healing is a spiritual thing and cannot be completely captured by science. The only fourth thing is the only morality that science alone might produce is survival of the fittest. Fifth thing is Dr. Paul McHugh, chief of psychiatry of Johns Hopkins Hospital from 1975 to 2001, has said the issue of transgender is the vast majority coming for surgery now don't have a biological reason, but a psychosocial reason. I submit to you that psychosocial reasons are spiritual and moral issues. Number 6, when you force girls to share the restroom with boys, you are infringing on their rights to privacy, modesty, and safety, and that is a psychosocial problem. It is a spiritual and moral issue. Therefore, this is a spiritual and moral issue. If you force girls to share restrooms with boys, you're forcing their morality upon them. When I exclude boys from using the girls' restroom, I'm forcing my morality on them. Clearly, we have a conflict. So how do we decide whose morality would carry the day? The simplest solution has been the compromise, which has been available all along, which you've refused to embrace. There are private bathrooms in every school building. Instruct the boys who feel uncomfortable using the boys' bathrooms to use the private bathrooms. That's much more practical than expecting the girls who don't want boys coming into the restroom to all use one private bathroom. Certainly, with a better solution would be to help people whose feelings do not identify with their biology discover why and find a solution to that problem. It's estimated that 90% of all people who question the identity will eventually realign with their biology. Would it not be better to help those 90% with tough love rather than reinforcing false identity? Remember the revered document that's been around for 3,400 years and says a woman shall not wear anything that pertains to a man, nor shall a man put on a woman's garment, for to do so are an abomination of the Lord your God. The intent of those words is to keep the distinction between the sexes, and we need to do that. I urge the school board to change your policy.
Thank you. Ellen Ingram.
4, maybe 5. 4, maybe 5.
Hello. I come to you tonight as a parent of a sophomore at Stillwater High School. Our family moved to Stillwater about 5 years ago. We were in a situation where we could have picked just about anywhere in the state to move, and we picked Stillwater. Part of it is my husband and I both graduated from OSU, and part of it is I am totally obsessed with Cowboy basketball. But the main reason, the very main reason, is we did our research, and we wanted to be part of Stillwater Public Schools. We haven't been disappointed in any way. Our son is thriving. He's going with Mr. Z to New York City here in a few days. He's bowling with the bowling team. Who knew there was a high school bowling team? He even likes most of his classes. We love it here. He came from a tiny parochial school in Oklahoma City. His spiritual development is very important to us, his academic, social development. Those are things that are real important to us. He's thrived here. He's never had an issue about a bathroom. He's never had an issue about anybody else's sexual identity. All of us in our family appreciate very much the inclusiveness of this school and this community. He's never felt unsafe, and he's always been very proud to be a pioneer. Our family fully supports the current policy that was articulated so well in Dr. Washington's letter a few weeks ago. The current policy clearly follows the law, and we believe it's the right thing to do. I encourage all of you in these difficult positions to make sure that every child feels as included and accepted as our child has felt in Stillwater Public Schools. Thank you.
Amy Parsons. Amy Parsons.
Wasn't that her?
No, that was
Oh, okay.
Ellen. No, Ainsley.
Okay. I would like to thank the school board and parents and attendees this evening for listening. There's several ways to approach the equality of the bathroom. These are just some of my viewpoints. It's disappointing that Mr. Walters in his recent letter used such language that was meant to spark fear in its reader. I've seen and heard others use the same kind of fear-based approach that paints a portrait of a predatory behavior. And those in the transgender community and the LGBTQ plus community are not to be linked to that kind of predatory behavior or someone lurking in the bathroom stalls. One does not equal the other. These students, like many, just want to go in and out without any attention upon themselves. They just want to use the bathroom. We as parents share a common thread of loving our children wholly and deeply, and concerned for their well-being. And as a community, we share this bond, and we are proud to be pioneers. Excuse me. We are rooted in the support of all the school activities. We donate endless time and talent and additional funding so that our students can have the best possible experience during their years as a pioneer. And just like parenting, it can be exhausting, but rewarding to watch these bright, talented, and driven kids succeed. It's just worth its weight in gold. And we are there for them, and we are present for them, and we support them. When I think about this, I'll say I'm not a native Oklahoman, but I think of the Oklahoma Standard, or at least a branch of that definition and that philosophy. So what is the Oklahoma Standard? It is a statewide initiative preserving and promoting a culture of caring citizens by encouraging acts of service, honor, and kindness. And I just love this. And I realize that that was brought upon tragedy after the bombing, but this philosophy and this belief can be used in all walks in our daily life. And regardless of political affiliation, it is always something to be proud of. One's act of service can be to speak to the rights of all students, especially those who may not able to voice for themselves. Show kindness by including them without fear or judgment, and get to know them and honor their path and walk beside them. They're all just trying to find their way.
Thank you, Amy. Noah Burley. Noah Burley.
My name is Noah Burley. I am the activist of OSQ&A, and I'm here for support and to share my love with the community and everybody here. I believe everybody is equal, and since America has been discovered, there's always been equality issues. There's always been issues for African Americans, for Native Americans, for people in the LGBTQ community. People have always been discriminated against, and that's not okay. And I am a trans woman who has issues. I have issues. I was abused by my mother growing up. I was sexually assaulted at the age of 17 by a man in a restroom, and that has nothing to do with this issue. Biological men go in biological men restrooms, but trans women should be allowed to go where they identify. And like a great man once said, I have a dream. Martin Luther King Jr. changed the rights for African Americans forever. And this is a similar issue where I believe everybody should have equal respect and representation. I think that all people should be equal. And obviously, I think that all people should be treated equally and with respect. Don't bring your religions into this. This is, separate church and state. I get that people have personal feelings of what they're scared of. People fear the unknown. But to bring your religion into it, like Islam, Christianity, this has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with basic human rights. And people are not getting their rights. People are being discriminated against. They're being stomped upon, and that is never okay. I think that everybody should have their rights. And what makes you a person does not define you by your biological sex. What makes you a person is who you are on the inside. Everybody is different. And if everybody was the same, we'd all be freaking robots. Okay? I think everybody should be treated with equal opportunities. I think that people should feel safe in their restrooms. I think everybody should have a safe space. Look, I have mental health, problems because of my mom. But that has nothing to do with me being trans as a person. I have accommodations, and I think people who have similar issues should have accommodations, and they should always feel comfortable and safe. I love everybody. I love all the trans people, and I'm always here to help everybody and support everybody. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Dalton Parsons.
First, thank you, Dr. Washington, for so clearly speaking about these issues. And I thank the rest of the school board for your leadership and your calm pragmatism and these sort of overblown topics. My name is Dalton Parsons. I'm here as a parent of 2 current SPS students and then one that's already moved into OSU. Others have shared a more academic or more emotional approach here. I'm just going to go with the facts, at least as I see them. I am pretty simple in the sense. A bathroom is a room, usually with smaller rooms inside, where you poop. Trans boys are boys. Trans girls are girls. If you don't agree, it's because you've chosen not to agree. Schools all over the nation hold policies like ours, and it's impossible to find a true case where this has been a problem. Not the Virginia case that didn't actually work the way that you like to tell the story about. And sexual predators should be dealt with, full stop. Nobody's arguing that. That's not the debate. Let's be honest, the debate isn't about bathrooms or kids or what might happen in these bathrooms. Bathrooms have been a haven for bullies forever. I know they were when I was a kid. Few of these folks that are talking have ever really cared about that. This debate is part of the current culture war. It's the topic of the month, and it's a debate about how people seek power, and they seek power through fear. They make you scared of something. So where do our kids play into the debate then? Where do trans kids play into it? Where do my kids play into it? They don't, other than seeing the bad side of it. This debate is not driven by the kids. This debate is not driven by the kids that are scared to use bathrooms. This is a group of fathers that are either scared of the kind of boys they're raising or the boys that they were as children. These are the bullies. I know we can do better. These bullies feed on an opportunity to attack, and most important, be someone who attacks and be known as the person who attacks. We've heard that today. Our standard group is Stillwater bullies. Thank you. The bullies that stand in the hallways, like last time, yelling that they had told their kids to beat the out of anyone that's in the wrong bathroom, and doing that intentionally in front of their targets. The bullies that show up at the Pride Day parade downtown, walking through the middle of the street with a holstered gun, chest out, taking pictures, just begging for somebody to say something, just waiting for the opportunity. And I'm not here to preach, and the ones that have done it for the most part have not really done that great of a job. But what's the worst is the bullies that reference the Bible, completely ignoring every point of his love that the Bible brings. Whoever claims to love God yet hates his brother or sister is a liar. And he has given us this command: anyone who loves God must also love their brother and sister. 1 John 4:20 and 21.
Thank you. Sharon Edwards. Sharon Edwards. That's our last one. Sharon Edwards.
Yes. I didn't hear him, but because I don't have a computerized machine with my notes on it. My name is Sharon Edwards, and I want to say that I was a high school math teacher for almost 30 years, and I've been called quite a few of those things myself, so I empathize with you. I moved to Stillwater 5 years ago when I retired from teaching to be near family. I'm not here tonight because I have children in the schools, but I do have grandchildren in the school. I wrote this down so that I could not get lost and forget what I was saying. Please bear with me and excuse me for reading this. I truly don't want to live someplace where the politicians dictate details about how we run our public schools. That is beginning to happen more and more, and it frightens me about our future. As you know, there are now states banning books as well as dictating what information is contained in our textbooks. We are attempting to educate the next generation of Americans, and I think we should be willing to give them the facts and then let them decide which facts they choose to believe or which they think are more important or whatever along those lines. The second part of my interest in the public school system is that I have a 6-year-old granddaughter who is in kindergarten and a 3-year-old grandson who will enter the school system in just a couple of years. I don't want him to enter a government-controlled school the way the Nazi youth or German youth did in the Nazi possession of the German schools in the 40s. And I want to say how proud I am to be associated with a school board who is working as hard as you are to determine a policy that is politically inflamed right now. I applaud you for your efforts. Last of all, I think my career as a public school teacher gives me a great deal of insight into what will or will not offend students in our schools. If I understand correctly, and I'm not sure that I do because I've been a little confused by what some people have said today. Yikes. Would there just be the one bathroom that would be designated as gender neutral? If that's the policy, why would girls going into the girls' bathroom be afraid? And I'm sorry.
Thank you. I think that's everyone, right? Okay. You're welcome to stay, but the rest is just
Business.
business as usual.
But you were welcome to stay. Very exciting.
All right.
These are all the policies of other districts
Thank.
that match our exact language.
All right.
We usually get it.
We're still in the middle of a board meeting, so we're gonna, if you could keep it down, we're gonna keep moving forward.
Create. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comment.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can we stretch?
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Are we stretching? Are we taking a break?
Just
Or they?
stand up,
Okay,
stretch
stand up.
while they're, we don't have to wave.
It's good to see you. Good to see you
I
guys.
do need a little stand. Legs.
Everybody should be in love.
All right. Give it a second to get out.
How did I miss this woman? 2 hours.
Thanks for sharing your note.
Fun. You go. I saw your boy.
What do we have?
I don't have a list. I have their actual sheets. So let me ask just a second if we can.
Your daughter?
Sherry or Sherry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know Sherry. Yeah.
And we were at chicken place.
Oh, Golden
Son
Chick.
is mad.
Yes.
And she said, I gave a list of
Yeah. No, he's used to that.
I am not sure whether I conveyed what I wanted to convey.
Did I email it to him? Yay.
Yeah, I think you do. So.
What the board is doing.
Yeah, he, when he told me my son, when he told me he wanted to work at Golden Chick, I said, "Are you sure?" But he has loved it, and it has been a phenomenal experience. They're like a family there. I mean, they are so warm and welcoming.
Email it
And
to you.
yeah, I mean, they just they're really interesting. The whole family is Persian that runs but it's like celebrate your birthday, let's have a cake and do that, and so it's very interesting.
Now, you would not have met him before. I think so much of this.
You're welcome. Is your name Ray?
Runner-ups.
I'll send it to you right now.
Runner-ups. I was.
Hey, you guys, I just want to really quickly announce that we are in session, and these conversations are outside of Open Meetings Act.
Okay.
So if you're having conversations privately that were not recorded, that is outside of OMA, and we're asking you to remain compliant with that law.
Thank you, Marshall. I was in the other room. I appreciate that.
He's got that loud teacher voice. Vice principal teacher.
And
Okay, we're on the consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at a board meeting will be approved by one board vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following items. Have to read all those? Okay.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
It's an action item. Does anybody want to pull any?
I make a motion that we approve 4A through Q. Second.
Any discussion? Annette?
Wright,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Riley.
Yes. Item 5A, consider and vote to approve the treasurer's report.
It takes you all a lot longer with this.
I know.
I mean, we're like spending this.
We don't have the candy and drinks.
You have 3 minutes.
We already talked about that. I would love to keep this to 3 minutes, and I really think it will this evening, actually. So the first agenda item is the treasurer's report. So if you have, last few months while I was out, and Debbie, first of all, thank you to Debbie Schrader for presenting in my absence.
Thank you, Debbie.
I really appreciate that. We have been ahead of our typical collections, and that's largely due to the amount of ad valorem we received in January. I looked ahead a month, and because April is the next month that we typically receive another large allocation, and we have gotten that check, and so we will exceed overall our ad valorem budget, which is a great thing. It's not largely significant right now, but I'll continue to watch that. We do have a quarter left of our fiscal year, so last 3 months of our fiscal year. right now. So in the coming 3 months, I'll be giving more of a projection of overall where we at revenue versus expenditure and how might that change the fund balance for the district going into next year. But so I mentioned our revenue is ahead, but our expenditures are also ahead of historical rates. So that's just kind of what I'll be reporting on in a little bit greater detail in the coming months. Also, I'm at the time frame right now where I owe you all an update on some of our COVID spending specifics. So next month, I'll bring that as well. And my final, I think those are my final comments on the treasurer's report, unless there are questions about some of the other details that are contained in your packet.
This is an action item.
I move to accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Any discussion? Annette?
Baker,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Riley.
Yes. Item 5B, receive bond expenditures and revenue report.
So as I said 2 months ago, and I don't think much has changed in the interim, we're really at that stage where we're wrapping up on this current set of bond projects. So the spending has slowed down dramatically. We most of our spending over this last month was in transportation purchases and in maintenance and renovations. So maintenance and renovations tend to be more consistent and a higher dollar spend every year within our bond budget for the necessary needs around the district. So just $200,000 over from last month to this month on our bond expenditures. Any questions?
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
And we already took care of 5C, so we'll move to 6A, receive Skyline Elementary School HVAC and roofing project owners representative report.
I'm expecting a 3-minute limit. So you'll see there's 3 new sections of green on the west side of the building and be on the left side. And those areas are areas that received a new roof over spring break. I really can't say enough about American Roofing for jumping in there and getting materials quickly and getting as much of the roof done as possible before we got to the summer break. There are definitely other schools, other districts, other projects that I've been told about that have not received materials that are sitting and waiting because it just didn't get there. The section that's in red is an area that was identified during the last heavy rain that we had and a little bit of water intrusion. And we're working with GOS Engineering, and they're proposing a plan for how we're going to remove water from that space. There is some difficulty with that as the site is pretty flat. But anyway, just a couple pictures or a few pictures of what's going on. You can see the TPO membrane layer on the left side that they're rolling out. That's an adhesive. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that's the tapered insulation. So it is positively tapered and draining. Finished roof. Well, I say that there's no flashing. It's coming. Another piece of finished roof, and that's it. So,
3 minutes.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. Can you go back to the, that one? I was at Skyline, and I understand the heavy rains and whatnot, but I was at Skyline outside the main office, and they had buckets sitting around. And that's a roof that's been completed?
So it's that piece of the roof is actually just behind. Really wish I had a pointer right now. So you see the blue dot or the blue square right in the middle?
Yeah.
That green section right behind that is actually the foyer, the very front piece, and then there's a little parapet wall right there. And where you see the buckets is actually beyond that parapet wall, only by 3 or 4 feet, but it is on the other side of it is not a new roof in that section.
So the blue section is the portico patio.
I know what the blue, I know, but the green section is in front of the office, am I right?
It's.
Where are the doors in the building? Are they with the wall?
I mean, the front office, there's a distance in between the true front doors, and then you walk in, and then on the left you have the front office, right? And so then you have your security doors. That roof ends. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. There's a curve to the front office in there. It ends about where that curve is straightening out into the building. And so where those bins are that you saw is truly beyond that first roof. It's not by a lot. I asked the same questions of the roofing company, and I said, is there any way? And it's part of a much bigger section, and so on and so forth. I fully expect that once the primary section of the roof, the big section beyond that, is done, that will be completely dry. If it's not, they will fix it.
Okay.
And they'll fix it until it is dry.
Question number 2 is the drains that were mentioned in the report that were just discovered to be clogged or whatever it was. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Rob, I really don't, but it seems a little wild that we're just now discovering that almost a year later.
I'll say that there are some of those drains that we didn't know whether or not they truly functioned. There are some of them that had plugs in them because we knew that there was a plumbing issue and they were under deferred maintenance at the time. And so the nice part about this process is that we're going to fix all of those drains.
Okay. All right.
And we'll have a fully functional roof, and we will not have water in the building.
Great news.
On April 12th, he said it.
Any other questions?
Oh, Dr.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. No, he said it today.
All right. 6B, receive bond 2023 long-range facilities planning monthly update.
Good evening.
Hey.
Had to hang out in the parking lot. It was standing room only. I saw it when I showed up, but I watched it online. So it's a pleasure to be here as always to give you an update of what's going on with the long-range planning committee, and in particular as relates to bond 2023. In your packet, there's a little more detail in there, but I'll kind of hit the highlights of it. As the committee's been moving through the process, the last few sessions have been really focused on getting to our goal of ultimately coming with a list of priority projects for the board's consideration for bond 2023. Out of the hundreds of needs that have got in there and with that. But this last one was really, did a lot of, I think, really productive conversations with the executive committee, so much that we didn't get everything done, and we held another one today to wrap up some of the pieces on there. But some high points on that is, as the committee, they wanted to revisit just to make sure and get consensus on that the experience of the high school to be an integrated 9th grade through 12th grade experience. And at a high level, basically the discussion is, are we going to build a building that's completely separate, hundreds of yards away, or are we going to try to integrate that experience? And with the majority consensus, it was as we move forward, one of the recommendations is to design a facility that allows flexibility and long-term for the immediate integration of the experience through all grade levels. There was a lot of great dialogue with staff just explaining how the current 9th graders are using the campus. There already is integration going on, and each year it continues to get more and more. So we did that. Next, we reviewed those capacity reports that you guys have seen a lot of, and wanted to get a consensus or a feeling from the executive committee of what they thought, looking over various bond cycles, a 6-year, a 10-year, if there was any immediate needs to build additional physical space at this time. Not that there are not individual needs within the schools, but do we need to build more instructional space? And that was a unanimous decision among that between now and 2030, based on what we know in the Stillwater environment, that there was no need to focus in on a priority for building new additional pre-K through 4th grade instructional space. Next, we had the pleasure of having John Wolf. You guys have engaged him in the past to come, and along with Jerica, and we appreciate her taking some time out of maternity to attend that meeting. Had a really, I think, a dynamite dialogue about ways to fund this. And what drove a lot of that was the high school project being, for any district, the largest building that you guys are going to construct, and how do you accomplish that in funding. And through that discussion at that level, it quickly came, kind of the consensus on it was kind of two options. With the current 6-year cycle, over 3 consecutive bonds, if you focus the majority of your funding, at the end of that, you would have completed what could go, if we did a 10-year bond cycle,
with approximately $195 million bond. So it changes the focus of the committee to start to go, what are our 10-year needs with that? Upon wrapping that up, it led us to, we didn't get to in that meeting on that day to really start talking about what the projects are. And that's what the day, to give you a little bit, it's not in a report, but we met for the typical hour and a half with the sole purpose is we had a group of activities where they broke into small groups of about 8 each and had a discussion with the question of what would you prioritize projects for the upcoming bond related on first the grade reconfiguration and secondly the needs. And it was just great, and I think Dana and those that were there to sit there to watch the interaction and discussions in the different groups coming at different angles. It was really encouraging to see their thought process on that. The compilation of that will be presented at an upcoming special board meeting that we've got on the 26th. That'll also have John Wolf present in that. And we've also invited the members of the executive committee to come because they've been participant into this approach that I think you guys would welcome that participation. There's show support with that. Also, we've got the full survey of the campus, big file on there. Been just starting to look through that to get brainstormed that, which starts to ramp us up to the next milestone is at the special board meeting of you guys considering the first list of proposed potential projects on there. And a little of the context of it on is, you know, we've got a sum of dollars. So one of the things we're going to be talking about the dollar amount. Going from a 6-year to 10-year bond, and that's something that Dr. Washington will talk about, and we'll need board direction because that's the money. And then the second one is we'll have a list of projects that will have the highest priority and go through, and there's going to be some of these that we're going to go clearly fit within the budget, and then we're going to hit kind of this gray area of what we can afford. And to put that in context, if you remember the last bond on the middle school, we wanted to do a Beth Dariff refuge. We really wanted to do a new choir room. With the initial design, we weren't sure if we could do that budget, but we got deeper in the process, and you guys made some decisions, too, about funding on there. We were able to accomplish the next level of needs. And so what we'll be looking for on approval from the executive committee is sort of the context to go, here's the dollar amount, the budget, here's generally the budgets we want to talk about, and here's the list of priorities that the team will begin to work on. In our work, we're already starting to schedule that. We're going to have Dr. Dillon back in May, and we're going to have a full day of, I think, 4 sessions is what we've got with teachers and staff for him to lead us in starting to vision out the program for the high school so that we can be sensitive to the teachers before they go on break and give us a lot of information to allow us over the summer to start to proceed with developing solutions for the upcoming bond. So with that kind of is a high overview. I didn't know if there was any questions.
Any questions? No?
I have just one. I know we talked about providing the board with a, something to prepare for the meeting on the 26th. Is that still going to happen?
Yeah, we're not going to come in cold. Yeah, we'll give you a high level what we're going to present and what we're specifically wanting to talk about, and then we'll be prepared to go into depth if we need to go deeper on that. So we'll try not to burden you with I don't know how many thousands of pages of just notes and things that we've collected, but we'll get this high-level executive summary of the discussions and ultimately the reasoning behind the recommendation to try to help you focus and then have the expertise in the room to help support those questions. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to wait so long.
Yeah.
Kathy, item 7A, receive summer school update.
Mr. Swanson was unable to be here tonight, so I'm going to do his update for him. We are having Summer Academy again this summer. As you recall, last year we had a very robust Summer Academy with a high attendance running at 3 elementaries, middle school, junior high, and then credit recovery. Right now we are looking at a more traditional Summer Academy like we had pre-COVID, and right now that's being driven by enrollments. We are looking at 1 elementary school as of today for Summer Academy, it to be Will Rogers. We will run the elementary Summer Academy June 6th through June 23rd, Monday through Thursday, from 8 to 12, so we have increased the time. And then we're going to do something different with our EL students. Typically we run their program at the same time as the Summer Academy. we're going to run it in the afternoon so the EL students can attend both summer school in the morning or summer academy in the morning and then the EL camp in the afternoon. So that's something new we're trying this year. Another thing that's new this year, the secondary academy will be in July. So there's some conferences in June that the secondary teachers really wanted to attend, and to do that they would have to miss summer academy as far as teaching. So we tried to accommodate that, so that's new this year. Trying something different. We'll see how it goes. Their time is from 9 to 12 with EL in the afternoon as well. Now we will run credit recovery both in June and July for our high school students, and we will have driver's ed in June. And right now driver's ed is full and we have a waiting list, so that is a good thing. Questions?
I think the answer is no, but virtual academy isn't going to be offered this summer.
Not this summer. Yeah. Okay. That is something we can look at in the future, but we have not put that in the plans for this summer.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. 8A, receive policy first reading.
Krista, do you want to speak about your food policies? It's just,
Since you're here.
I know, I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know anything specific. A few years ago, the State Board of Education made it possible for school districts to have exempt fundraisers that do not meet the Smart Snacks in School rules. And when we wrote the wellness policy and then revised it, we said we just wouldn't do any food fundraisers. And that's just food sold to students in school. So not blue and gold sausage, not cookie dough. It's food sold to kids in school. And we weren't following that policy, so we're not abusing the policy. The high school has some bake sales. They did Snack with Smack but so we're not abusing the policy. There are just a few little small fundraisers around. And so now we're just making the policy, adjusting it to actually fit what we're doing. So,
Great.
Questions?
Any questions on any of it? First reading, so.
Okay.
First reading, yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Krista.
Thanks.
My friend.
All right, item 9A.
Move to adjourn.
Vote to adjourn.
Second. Oh, man.
You got it.
Any discussion?
Oh, sorry.
Annette?
Young,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Riley.
Yes.